got a few. Greetings, my peoples, and welcome to another episode of Final Douche ASMR. And if you are joining us today, you can hear that I'm trying something a bit different. We're gonna try my soft-spoken voice instead of whispering. You feel free to tell me what you like better in the comments. Also, we have a new lighting setup, so hope you guys like it. And this week's episode is focused on Steely Dan's 1972 debut, Can't Buy a Thrill. So this is Steely Dan's debut album, and it was released in November 1972. It was also recorded at the Village Recorder in Los Angeles, starting in August of 1972. So, I am a new Steely Dan fan. I just sort of got into them mainly because I've just gotten into vinyl, and I bought a record player, and then I watched that Yacht Rock documentary on HBO, and they said that one of the best records to listen to on your stereo, your speakers, for your turntables is Peg, which we've actually already covered on this channel. So I got Peg first, one of the first records that I bought, and I bought this actually second. So this is my second Steely Dan album, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorites and one of my most played. So Do It Again is sort of the, first big single. And for years, I thought that was a Santana song. Even after, Spotify, and even before with digital, it just never sort of got corrected. And it wasn't until very recently that I saw that it's actually a Steely Dan song. And I had a wrong idea about Steely Dan to begin with before I started listening to them. But realizing that Do It Again is actually a Steely Dan song, instead of Santana, who I already liked, sort of helped push my opinion of Steely Dan towards a positive, and I'm glad I did, because I've only liked these guys for a year, and they've been out for 50, so it's dope because you can always find new music to like. So the genre is, besides it being classic rock now, it's very eclectic album. Definitely pop rock, jazz rock is used a lot to describe Steely Dan in this album. Soft rock, I guess it's something that I no longer have a problem admitting that I like. And it's true, a lot of soft rock is fantastic. So it was dropped in November 1972, and for a debut album, it seems to have done pretty amazing. It hit number 17 on the Billboard charts. That's, that's not a easy task to do for a first album. So it's a testament to how good the album is. I feel it's extremely tight. Not really a bad song on it. And although it as eclectic as it is, it maintains a sort of musical throughway throughout it all. It definitely feels like one work as eclectic as it is, and I think that's hard to do. So the name of the album, Can't Buy a Thrill, is a reference, or it's actually the opening line of a Bob Dylan song called Takes a Lot to Laugh, It Takes a Train to Cry. I listen to a lot of Bob Dylan. I don't recognize that right off the top of my head. Wonder if I've heard it before. I probably have. Depending on, seeing when this album came out, and 1972, I've listened to a lot of Bob Dylan before 72, so I probably heard the song, just can't place it. And it always reminds me of The Simpsons. I think Milhouse's dad, Can I Borrow a Feeling is the name of his album, which is fictional, but I think, this song, I think they might have actually made it, I don't know if I'm remembering that correctly. But yeah, back to this. Robert Lockhart is the person behind this collage. And besides some of the obvious, lips and muscle men, it wasn't obvious to me, but I guess now that I know what it is pretty obvious. It says hotel, but these are prostitutes. I wonder if they are in front of the Rue du Gros Hortaga, or Hortage, in Rouen, France. So that's where you can find these prostitutes. And Dan Fagan, who is one of the members, lead singer, says that this is definitely one of the worst album cover arts from the 1970s. And yeah, I can see why he says that. It reminds me of like a cigarette ad or something. But for such an iconic album, I guess it is what it is. In Franco-led Spain, this image was banned, I guess, because of the prostitutes, or, there's a woman here who's, not clothed, but I don't see any private showing. But in Franco-ist Spain, this cover was banned, and they just used the cover of the band. If I find that cover, I'll put it up. So yeah, like I said, it was, when upon its release, it hit number 17 on the Billboard charts. So the album had a great start, and its legacy has lived on. Let's get to some of the accolades of the album. Rolling Stone called it, or numbered it at 240 on their greatest albums of, in 2020, they actually moved it up to 168 on their 500 greatest albums of all time list, so that's cool. Colin Larkin's book, Time 1000 Albums, ranked it at 238. That's top 500, so that's good. Let's see what else they've done. I mean, besides that, a lot of acclaim. Um, so it's beloved, and they're a beloved group, and we've seen some documentaries about them and the music. So, I think I shouldn't spend that much time on Steely Dan. But let's actually, on the subject of Steely Dan, let's talk about them. And we can actually look at them too. Alright, so I know that's Fagin, but I wouldn't be able to tell you who everybody else is, but I can, give you a roll call of our band. So, on guitar and some spoken Spanish on track number 5, which is, let's see which one that is. Only a fool would say that. Okay. A Message Cha-Cha is how it's described. Alright. So you got Jeff Skunk Baxter. He's on guitar and speaks Spanish on that song. Then we got Walter Becker. He's electric bass guitar, and he does some vocals on lead vocals actually. And there's a story behind that, or at least an explanation. That's on song number 10. So that would be, Turn That Heartbeat Over Again. Yeah, vocal by Don Fagen, Walter Becker. Alright, so next up we have Danny Diaz. He's on guitar. And then Donald Fagen. He's on piano, electric piano, plastic organ, lead vocals on every song except Dirty Work. Oh, I didn't know that. Midnight Cruiser and Brooklyn. Yeah. Alright. So apparently during that time he was concerned about singing live and reaching this level that he can do in the studio live. So they recruited, or actually since they all seem to be playing instruments, I guess convinced the other band members to join in on the singing, which the producer, which I'll get to his name, convinced them to stop doing that for the next album, which is why I guess from then on, sort of Fagen is sort of the lead vocalist, even though there's a lot of backup and a lot of awesome people have backed him up. Then we have Jim Hodder on drums, percussion, and he is, I think, on number 4, which is Midnight Cruiser. Okay, so he's the lead vocalist on that one. Excuse me. And then David Palmer, and he is the lead vocals on, I believe it's Dirty Work. Yes, he's lead vocals on Dirty Work and on Brooklyn. And then he does backup vocals on Only Fool Would Say That, and Change of the Guard, and Turn That Heartbeat Again. So that's the band in a breakdown. I feel like I said all the songs, but our producer is Gary Katz, and I think he went on to produce a couple albums for them. So Fagen and Becker are, sort of the soul force mean, they're the band, and I guess what I found out is that everyone else was sort of revolving. So just as long as those two are involved, we have Steely Dan. So I guess everyone else maybe came and went, but I'm pretty sure they used a lot of these people over and over again, as we saw in the Yacht documentary. And as we saw in the Yacht documentary, it doesn't look like Becker likes yacht rock or the term yacht rock. You know, whatever. Whatever the case is, it's great music. Yeah, I got no information on the back cover, but on the inside is where the lyrics are to all the songs. Okay, let's look at the album. So they're on ABC Records, which I don't think is around anymore. That looks like Little House on the Prairie to me. I might be wrong, but I don't know what this has to do with Steely Dan. Steely Dan was formed in upstate New York. So I don't see any information anywhere about this image. I mean, it's ABC Records, so this is the original. So I'll keep it because it's interesting, but I think that's a Little House on the Prairie picture. I might be wrong. Anyway, yikes. Paper, not good. Okay. Side A. Great. Okay. So side A, we have the classic Do It Again and the classic Dirty Work right after. Song 3 is Kings. Song 4 is Midnight Cruiser. Song 5 is Only a Fool Would Say That. So I got this new Yeti mic. It's amazing, it's sensitive. And I haven't really figured out the directionality yet. Alright. Side 2 is Reeling in the Years, also a classic. Fire in the Hole. Number 3 is Brooklyn. Number 4 is Change of the Guard. And number 5 is Turn That Heartbeat Over Again. So they might have met upstate, but this guy's got a song called Brooklyn on it. Got a feeling that their origins might have been somewhere in New York City, rather than upstate. Let me see what I can find. So they actually met in Bard College, which I think is still around. Yeah, I think so. I got friends that went there, and I've been there a number of times, which is awesome. I think I might have known that at the time and didn't. I was going there a lot around the early 2000s. Definitely was not into Steely Dan at that point. So if I heard about it, I wasn't too excited by the news. I gotta keep this. I think it's cool. Slid right in there. There you have it, folks. Steely Dan's classic debut, Can't Buy a Thrill, from 1972. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you next time.